Good morning. Oh, now, Rockville, we can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. That's better. Thank you. And welcome to the 75th annual Rockville Memorial Day ceremony. I'm Tim Chestnut, the Director of Recreation and Parks. I'm glad they wrote that down, otherwise I don't know how I'd remember that part. Director of Recreation and Parks for the City of Rockville. Your hosts today are Rockville Mayor Bridget Donald-Newton, Council members Beryl Feinberg, Mark Priscilla, and Virginia Onley. In addition to this being the 75th Memorial Day ceremony here in Rockville, this also marks the completion of the 31st annual Hometown Holiday celebration. I would like to thank the Rockville Concert Band, directed by Associate Music Director Dr. Juan Gallastegui, and the Rockville Community Chorus, directed by Brian Scythe, for their beautiful and inspirational performances. It's a great way to start the day. Now, here to share some thoughts and observations with you about the significance of this holiday, both locally and nationally, it's my distinct honor and privilege to introduce your mayor, the Mayor of Rockville, Bridget Donald-Newton.
Good morning and welcome, everybody. On behalf of our council, staff, and community, I would like to thank you for joining with us today as we honor and remember those men and women who gave their lives in service to our country. Though most of us know the history of Memorial Day, and that it began as Decoration Day, a day 3 years after the end of the Civil War, when the country paused to decorate the graves of those who gave their final measure, I doubt that most of us can truly comprehend that sacrifice and its direct correlation to the freedoms that we currently enjoy. This is a tumultuous time in our nation's history, and I struggled with what to say this morning, as today is a day to remember, to say thank you, to never forget the sacrifices made. My duty as mayor at this ceremony is to give a statement of purpose. And as I thought about it, this purpose as I saw it is to remind all of us about our collective duty, our responsibility. I believe that the best way to honor the sacrifices made is to remember why they were made. As President George H.W. Bush said, America is never wholly herself unless she is engaged in a high moral purpose. We as a people have such a purpose today, to make kinder the face of the nation and gentler the face of the world. President Bush's words were prophetic. So true they are today. For today, even in times of division, we know what unites us: our thirst for freedom, our fight for a better democracy, our pledge to be forever vigilant in defending our America, coming together to solve issues. It seems so simple, and yet it becomes difficult when we forget who we are as a people, who we are as a country, what we want for our city. For example, the men and women we honor today gave their all so that we could have the freedom to speak freely at Community Forum. They marched in the dead of winter in the heat of the jungles so that our students have the freedom to march in the streets of Rockville. Our soldiers took down propaganda machines so that we have the freedom to like or unfriend or even tweet. My friends, the statement of purpose today is to ask you, to even beg you, if I could be so bold, to honor our fallen by working together, by getting involved in our city, by listening, collaborating, and even cooperating. Don't stand by and let others make the decisions. Yes, life in 2019 is crazy busy, I know. It's easy to let the noise from outside crowd out our thoughts of who we are and what we want for our community. Who, what, and where goes the future of our city of Rockville? As hopefully we all know, the city of Rockville is holding elections for mayor and council on November 5th. and we will be the first in the state of Maryland to do them by mail. This is the year of vote by mail. Please read the postcards that come to you this summer and fall. Go to the city website and learn about the process. Go to the candidates' websites and go to the forums. Talk to your neighbors. Ask those hard questions. And if you live in the city of Rockville, register to vote. It's easy. It's important. And it's what our military heroes and our veterans fought and died for. Many of our veterans are with us here today, and I'd like to recognize you and the commitment and sacrifices that you made to protect our many freedoms, including the right to vote. If you served our country, please stand and wave, and let us give you our thanks for your service. Thank you, one and all, and thank you to all of you for joining with us today. May God bless the United States of America. Next, we are honored to have the Rockville City Police Honor Guard, who will present our nation's colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the colors. Would everyone please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. It has been 75 years since William Wood founded the Rockville Memorial Day Parade. And now it is my pleasure to introduce his daughter, the Reverend Jane Wood, from Locust United Methodist Church in Columbia, Maryland, to give the invocation.
Merciful God, on this 75th Memorial Day celebration, we pause to honor and remember the bravery and ultimate sacrifice of so many men and women throughout our history. Bring comfort to the families that prevailed without them. O Holy One, enable us to appreciate deeply their sacrifice as we daily enjoy our freedoms because of their sacrifice. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. It is now my honor and pleasure to welcome other dignitaries and special guests. Delegate and Chair Kumar Barve. Delegate Julie Polakovich-Carr. Delegate Jim Gilchrist. County Council Member Sidney Katz. Sheriff Darren Popkin. Commander of the American Legion Post 86, Randy Phillip. And representing the Recreation and Park Advisory Board, I see Chip Boylan. Often when we hear about the death of a service member, it happens in what seems like a far-off place. Too frequently these days, our military's involvement in conflicts around the world seems even more distant, as our 24-hour news cycle competes with our hurried lives. We only realize the weight of these sacrifices made by our military members and their families when war comes to our own doorstep, when we lose someone from our own circle. When that happens, the pain and loss are real. To mark the 75th anniversary of this Memorial Day observance in the city of Rockville, I will now read the names of military members who called Rockville home or who attended high school in our city and died while serving our country. Their names are worth remembering. First, I'll read the name of the war in which they served, followed by the name of each fallen hero. World War I, Army Private William Elmer Atwood. Marine Corps Lance Corporal William Irvin Brooke. Navy Reserve Force Seaman Apprentice Robert Lindsay Edmonds. Army First Class Lieutenant Dr. Frederick Neil Henderson. Army Private Theron Eaton Smith. World War II. Marine Corps Captain Calvert Sheriff Bowie. Air Force First Lieutenant Allison Henderson Chapin, Jr. Army Private William M. Cronise. Army Staff Sergeant Preston Eugene Curtis. Army Private First Class Emery Irvin Dove. Army Private Willie Vernon Dove. Army First Lieutenant Farron Robert Field. Air Force Second Lieutenant Thomas Philip Frank. Air Force Sergeant Ray Glacken. Air Force Master Sergeant Philip Stanley Harrison, Jr. Navy Seaman Second Class Milton Eugene Henley. Army Private First Class Donald Robert Higgins. Army Private James Wilbur Hudson. Army Private First Class William Wallace Kirby. Marine Corps Private Richard Allen Lowe. Army First Lieutenant John Edgar Lynch. Army Private First Class Woodrow Wilson Marth. Army Private Rossier Lee Mills, Jr. Air Force Second Lieutenant Carlton Cleveland Penn, Jr. Army Technician 4th Grade John S. Shaw. Marine Corps Private First Class Fred Warren Sudeth, Sr. Air Force Corporal Robert George Thomas. Army Private Stanley Wilson Watkins. Army Corporal Herman Wellfeld. Vietnam. Army Specialist 4th Class Robert William Abernathy. Army Specialist 4th Class Martin John Bagosh. Army Sergeant John Anthony Befferetti, Jr. Army Captain James Michael Coyle. Army Private First Class Gerald Lee Crosby. Army Corporal Kenneth Julian Cymbalowski. Marine Corps Private First Class Tommy Eugene Dickerson. Marine Corps Private First Class Richard G. Engelman. Army Corporal Robert Roxborough Groom. Army Corporal James Buckner Hall. Army Private First Class Steve Westall Harris. Army Specialist 4th Class Robert M. Higginbotham. Army Sergeant William Jeffrey Hodges. Army Private First Class Harold Jr. King, Jr. Army Staff Sergeant Balfour Oliver Litton, Jr. Army Seaman Robert David Mason. Marine Corps Private First Class Edwin Menser, Jr. Army First Lieutenant Terry Allen Moat. Army Chief Warrant Officer Gerald E. Neuenhouse, Jr. Army Sergeant Francis F. Novello. Marine Corps Private First Class, David Franklin Osborne. Marine Lance Colonel, Corporal Ernest Postanero. Marine Corps Lance Corporal, James Patrick Proctor. Marine Corps Private First Class, James Alfred Reed. Army Private First Class, Alfred Douglas Sonny Smith, Jr. Army Specialist, Austin Richard Von Kleist. Marine Corps Private First Class, Lauren John Wilson. The Global War on Terror. Army Specialist, Thomas Joseph T.J. Barberari. Army Specialist, Armor Nathan Buchart. Army Specialist, Anthony A. Pocky. Army First Class Lieutenant, William Compton Poling. Army Lieutenant, Colonel James J. Walton. Please join me in a moment of silence as we honor and remember Rockville's fallen military heroes. I'd like to extend our thanks to Honor and Remember, who supported the city in this commemoration, and who are providing the American flags displayed in front of the stage. On each flag is the name of one of our own. Please rise for the national anthem performed by the Rockville Concert Band and the Rockville Chorus. Thank you to the members of the Rockville Concert Band and the Rockville Chorus. I'd now like to introduce Randy Phillip, Commander of American Legion Post 86, who will announce the wreath-laying ceremony.
Good morning. I'm Randy Phillip, Commander of Post 86. American Legion Post 86. Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 12. Washington, Rockville, Elks Lodge, 15. Members of the Wood family. American Legion Auxiliary Unit 86. Also the Poppy Girls. Sons of the American Legion, Squadron 86. Rockville Sister City Corporation. Honor and remembrance. Military Officers Association of America. Janet Montgomery Chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. United States Submarine Veterans. Capitol Base submarine veterans? Or is that the same group? That same group, okay. Colleen, we got one more group standing over there? Yeah, I know. One more, yeah. I'm sorry? Memoir? Okay. Chapter 219, right? Yeah. Memoir, chapter 219. This completes the wreath laying.
Thank you to Mr. Jose Garcia of the Rockville Concert Band for playing taps. Please stand for the benediction by the Reverend Jane Wood.
God is nigh, safely rest. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Go now and appreciate more deeply the sacrifices that have been made, and love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thank you, Reverend Wood, and thank you all for joining us for Rockville's 75th Memorial Day ceremony as we honor and remember those who have served our country. The parade will kick off up the street at 10:30, and as a special treat while you wait, please enjoy the music of our very own Rockville Concert Band and the Rockville Chorus. Thank you all.